You are walking through a quiet spring woodland. The air is still. You hear the familiar, melodic call of a cuckoo echoing through the trees. It sounds peaceful, but if you look closely into a hidden nest nearby, you will witness a gruesome crime scene. A tiny, blind, featherless chick is struggling intensely. It is wedging its back against an unhatched egg. With a sudden, violent heave, the chick pushes the egg over the edge of the nest. The egg shatters on the forest floor below. You are watching a newborn cuckoo commit cold-blooded murder. Why would a creature barely hours old possess such a ruthless instinct? You might think this is a freak anomaly. You might assume it is simply a cruel glitch in nature. It is not. This newborn assassin is the product of millions of years of a brutal evolutionary arms race. This is the dark world of brood parasitism. For the cuckoo, raising young is a dangerous, energy-draining endeavor. Predators are everywhere. Food is scarce. Survival requires a massive investment of time and calories. Long ago, the ancestors of the modern cuckoo found a sinister loophole. They outsourced the agonizing labor of parenthood. They decided to let other birds do the work. But forcing a stranger to raise your child requires deception, violence, and biological warfare. How did this extraordinary manipulation actually begin? Imagine the harsh reality of an ancient forest. Survival is a daily game of terrifying margins. Every calorie burned foraging for a hungry chick brings a parent closer to starvation. The cuckoo bypassed this entirely. To understand this, you must look at the groundbreaking work of an evolutionary biologist named Dr. Nicholas Davies at the University of Cambridge. He spent decades observing the intense, invisible war between cuckoos and their victims, specifically the reed warbler. This is not a passive relationship. It is an escalating biological battle. Davies discovered that host birds are not stupid. They are constantly evolving defense mechanisms. They learn to recognize foreign eggs. They throw out the imposters. To survive, the cuckoo had to become a master forger. How perfectly can a bird counterfeit an egg? Over countless generations, female cuckoos evolved to lay eggs that perfectly mimic the color and speckle patterns of their specific victims. If a cuckoo targets a reed warbler, her eggs will be pale green with brown spots. If her ancestors targeted a meadow pipit, her eggs will be brown. This is a genetic lineage of deception. It is completely localized to the mother. A female cuckoo will only lay eggs in the nests of the exact same bird species that raised her. Her entire reproductive system is a highly specialized weapon designed to fool one specific target. But the deception must be executed flawlessly. Dr. Davies did not just watch these interactions. He tested them. He and his team painted wooden eggs and placed them into the nests of various birds. What did the results reveal about this ancient war? He discovered a localized evolutionary arms race occurring right in the wild. Birds that had been historically terrorized by cuckoos had evolved a sharp eye. They immediately recognized the painted wooden fakes. They aggressively tossed them out of the nest. But birds that the cuckoo had never targeted historically, they happily accepted the wooden blocks. They incubated them without question. This proved that the cuckoo is constantly forcing its victims to evolve. As the victims get better at spotting fakes, the cuckoos are forced to lay even more perfect counterfeits. It is a never-ending cycle of genetic escalation. But what happens when the deception is completely successful? Picture a female cuckoo perched high in the forest canopy. She is perfectly still. She is watching a tiny reed warbler build a nest deep in the reeds below. She waits with chilling patience. The warbler lays her eggs and briefly leaves to find food. This is the moment. The cuckoo drops from the canopy in total silence. She lands on the nest. In a matter of a 10-second frenzy, she commits a sequence of rapid, calculated actions. She swallows one of the warbler eggs whole. She lays her own counterfeit egg in its place. She flies away before the victim returns. Why does she eat the host egg? It is a necessary mathematical calculation. If the warbler returns and finds 5 eggs instead of 4, she will know something is wrong. The math must be perfect. The cuckoo leaves no evidence behind. How does the cuckoo egg survive the chaotic drop? Before the egg even hatches, the cuckoo has deployed biological armor. The female cuckoo does not have time to gently settle into the nest. She essentially drops the egg from the rim in a rush. If a normal bird egg were dropped like this, it would crack on impact. But the cuckoo egg is biologically engineered for high-impact landings. Its shell is significantly thicker and denser than the host eggs. It acts like a tiny, calcified cannonball. This extra thickness also serves a secondary, darker purpose. When the host bird returns and settles on the eggs to incubate them, the thicker shell prevents the cuckoo egg from breaking if the host bird becomes suspicious and tries to peck at it. The deception is fortified by heavy armor. What happens in the darkness of the nest once the incubation begins? The incubation period becomes a high-stakes race against time. The cuckoo egg is genetically programmed to hatch remarkably fast. It requires only 12 days of incubation. The host eggs require 13 or 14 days. This 24-hour head start is the most crucial window in the cuckoo's life. The chick emerges from its shell. It is completely blind. It is naked. It weighs less than a single ounce. Yet, it is already programmed with an absolute, uncompromising drive to eliminate the competition. Let us look deeper into the terrifying anatomy of the newborn killer. The sensory network running along its naked spine is incredibly concentrated. It acts like a biological radar tuned specifically to the shape of an egg. The skin on its back forms a specialized hollow, highly sensitive to touch. When it feels the smooth curve of an unhatched egg, an automated reflex takes over. This is not a conscious decision. The chick does not know what an egg is. It does not know what a sibling is. It only knows that a specific tactile sensation on its skin must be met with maximum upward force. Nature has reduced complex murder into a simple, binary neurological switch. Touch equals push. Why is this automated response so necessary for a newborn? Because the chick is operating on a microscopic energy budget, it has not been fed yet. It is burning its final reserves of yolk energy to perform this heavy lifting. The blind chick maneuvers itself until the host egg rests safely in the hollow of its back. It grips the sides of the nest with its tiny wings. It pushes backward with astonishing strength. It throws the egg into the abyss. It repeats this exhausting process until it is the only living thing left in the nest. If it fails, it will have to share the incoming food with 3 or 4 other mouths. Sharing means a slower growth rate. A slower growth rate means a longer time in the nest, increasing the risk of predators finding them. For the cuckoo, coexistence is a mathematical impossibility. It is a zero-sum game played out in the canopy. You are watching a creature that cannot see, cannot fly, and can barely hold its own head up systematically dismantle an entire family. This solitary chick now monopolizes the food supply. But a massive problem remains. A cuckoo chick grows rapidly. Within weeks, it will dwarf its adoptive parents. It will become a monstrous, bulging giant, sitting in a tiny nest built for birds a fraction of its size. The adoptive parents are entirely exhausted. They are flying back and forth from dawn until dusk. They are dropping insects into the gaping, red mouth of a creature that looks absolutely nothing like them. Why do they keep feeding it? Why do they not realize they are raising the murderer of their own children? This is where you discover the most chilling biological twist in this entire evolutionary story. You might assume the host parents are simply blinded by maternal instinct. You might think they are just reacting to the sight of an open beak. That is only a fraction of the truth. The cuckoo chick has not just hacked their nest, it has hacked their neurological network. The imposter has evolved a weapon far more insidious than physical violence. It uses acoustic mind control. Researchers discovered that a single cuckoo chick does not sound like one baby bird. When it cries for food, its vocal cords produce a complex, multi-layered frequency. What does this invisible frequency actually do to the host bird? This specific frequency perfectly replicates the sound of an entire brood of starving host chicks. The chick rapidly modulates its vocalizations, creating a chorus of varied pitches. To the warbler's brain, this sounds exactly like 4 of her own chicks begging simultaneously. When the adoptive mother hears this sound, a powerful surge of dopamine and instinctual urgency floods her brain. A bird's brain prioritizes auditory signals over visual ones when it comes to parenting. The auditory cortex of the host bird completely overrides the visual cortex. The cuckoo chick is playing a phantom symphony of non-existent babies. The host parents are literally trapped in an auditory illusion. They are biochemical prisoners. They are working themselves to the point of starvation, driven by the simulated cries of the very chicks the cuckoo murdered days earlier. The cuckoo has weaponized the grief and parental drive of its victims. It forces them to operate against their own genetic interests. How long can this tragic illusion last? The host parents will feed the massive imposter until it is fully feathered and capable of flight. They will even land on its back just to reach its enormous mouth to deliver food. The manipulation is absolute. But another massive mystery remains. How does a bird know its true identity when raised by strangers? A cuckoo chick has never heard the song of its own species while growing up. It has only heard the songs of reed warblers or meadow pipits. Yet, when it reaches adulthood, it does not sing a warbler song. It perfectly sings the cuckoo call. Its identity is hardwired into its genetic code, completely immune to the environment it was raised in. It is a biological ghost, passing through the lives of other species without ever truly becoming part of them. Once the cuckoo leaves the nest, it will never look back. It will never meet its biological parents. It will fly south for thousands of miles, migrating across hostile oceans and deserts entirely alone, guided purely by ancestral code. The following spring, the females will return to the exact same forests. They will sit in a canopy. They will search for the very species that raised them. The terrifying cycle of deception and acoustic warfare will begin all over again. You are walking through the same quiet spring woodland. The air is still. You hear the familiar, melodic call of a cuckoo echoing through the trees. It sounds peaceful, but now you know the truth behind the melody. You know that somewhere high above in the canopy, a silent assassin is watching, waiting to deploy an ancient biological weapon. Nature is not a fairy tale. It is a ruthless laboratory of survival. If you want to uncover more dark truths hiding in plain sight within the animal kingdom, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and join us next time as we decode the wild.